for 10 days. We are A.J. McCarron, Mac Jones, and Reuben Foster away from Alabama football. But after today, we'll be 9 days. We'll be Bryce Young, Amari Cooper. Days away from your Crimson Tide getting on the field. Saturday, September 3rd, Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa to take on Utah State. You're rocking and rolling. Hottest show on the streets, bringing you your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate you guys checking us out here on a Wednesday hump day. We're bringing you the show from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. You know what to do. Smash subscribe right now. Hit that subscribe button. Get all of your friends, family members, diehard Bama fans, casual Bama fans to subscribe, because if you love the content, guess what? They will also. Don't forget to leave a like. Give us that thumbs up. Run those likes past the moon. Make this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Turn all of those notifications on. Hit that little bell so that way you miss nothing when it comes to the Crimson Tide. Got you covered also on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. We got a great one for you guys tonight. No guests, just me, but talking nonstop Alabama football. We want you guys being a part of the conversation. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. Don't let tonight go by without letting your voice be made known. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. That daily super chat goal, $75. Daily super chat goal right there. Guys, shout out D. Pickett for dropping in that $4.99. And the donation's already getting started. Dancing Steve in the khaki pants already getting his day started right there. Appreciate the love there from D. Pickett. And we get into our first topic here of conversation. People, the rich get richer when it comes to Alabama football, and nobody is carrying a bigger bag, a bigger briefcase than one Nick Saban. It happened on yesterday. The University of Alabama Board of Trustees with Athletics Director Greg Byrne extending Coach Saban's contract through 2030. Contract's going through 2030. He is now the highest paid coach in college football for 2022, making $11.7 million. It appears that right after Georgia did the deal with Kirby Smart, that got him $11.2 million for 2022, Alabama was like, let us reintroduce the baddest coach in college football, or he's Nick Saban, and bumped him up there to $11.7 million. Now, the duration of the contract, he's going to be looking at $93.6 million. It's near $100 million that Coach Saban will be making throughout the duration here of the contract. And that's insane when you think about that, right? Because when Saban first got here in 2007, the first payday was a little over $4 million. And people thought that was crazy. You know, college football head coach making a little over $4 million. We don't even know if Coach Saban going to be here that long. I mean, you saw the track record he had prior to Alabama. He would not stay at a place longer than 4 or 5 years. You know, what makes Tuscaloosa so different? That was what a lot of people were saying early on when a little bit over the $4 million was paid to Coach Saban. But to go from that to 16 years later, $93.6 million, and he's worth every single dime of every single penny of that money for what he has done in nearly 2 decades when you look at Alabama football, and just how he has raised the level of play across the board, how he has elevated the expectations of college football, how he's elevated the expectation of Alabama football, how he's even elevated the competition. He's made the opposition work harder. I mean, case in point, ever since Saban's got here, Alabama football is a must. It's a must to be in the conversation every single year. If you don't start a college football conversation without Alabama football, are people really going to listen to you? Are people going to really pay you any iota of attention? That's what Nick Saban's done. I mean, you cannot start a college football national championship conversation and not have Alabama in there. People are wondering, who are you credentialed by, and how can we quickly revoke your status? Because Alabama football is not starting your conversation. Saban has made Bama football a yearly conversation. Right behind that, I mean, what he's done is, goodness, he's forced opponents to work harder in recruiting. I mean, look at this. Saban getting #1 classes each and every year. He's forced opposition. Well, I got to work harder in recruiting. He's forced opposition, well, especially in the SEC. I got to work harder to win the SEC championship because Saban's in there each and every year. I got to beat him. I got to knock him off. So it means I got to go harder to win conference championships. I got to go harder to win the SEC. Saban's forced opposition. I got to go harder to get into the college football playoff and the national championship game. If I want to beat him, if I got to knock him off the perch, I got to go harder. I got to do more. Elevating the level of play to where the opposition's got to work harder. He's even elevated the level of play where the opposition's got to work harder to get players drafted in the NFL. I mean, since 2009, Saban's got 100-plus players drafted to the league, including, 41 first-round picks? So he's made opposition work hard to get first-round picks in there. And even though this past draft, Saban had, 2 first-round picks in Evan Neal and Jamison Williams, you look at this next draft coming up, 2023, Saban could have 10-plus people taken in the first round, especially if all the cards fall in the right order. And also what he's done is he's raised the level of play in terms of, coaches getting contracts. With this deal here, Saban getting $11.7 million. Look at all of the coaches across the landscape now. Where's my money coming in? Saban got $11.7 million. Where my check at? Where my bag at? Where my, where my money at right here? Run me my money. Run me my cash flow. Look at it, Coach Saban getting that $11.7 million on his card right there. So he's raised the expectation level of college football. He's raised the expectation level for Alabama football. He's raised the look of the opposition because they know he's going to be there in the college football playoff, in a national championship game, in the SEC title game just about every single year. And if I'm trying to knock him off the perch, I got to get there. And so now with this contract of 8 years extended until 2030, the rest of college football is going, man, just when we thought we kind of had Saban someone out the door, we got to deal with him for 8 more years. We got to put up with him for 8 more years. He's around 8 more years. And here's the crazy thing. He's getting a handle on the NIL. And he kept telling people, hey, this NIL, it could hurt college football, but if you want to play hardball, I will play hardball with you. He said about the transfer portal. He said about the splitting of the recruiting period for it to go to an early recruiting period and a traditional recruiting period. He said this about so many things. Said it about now. NIL, what has Coach Saban done? Helped Alabama land two of the biggest NIL profits out there. You got the Fanatics deal, which Fanatics is going to be selling the authentic, name, image, likeness gear for Bama inside of Bryant-Denny. And then you got the NASCAR deal, which happened yesterday, and that was insane. Alabama inking a 1-year partnership with NASCAR. NASCAR has never done this before with any other collegiate program. Alabama's the first. So what NASCAR's doing, they're going to have video leaderboards put into Bryant-Denny Stadium on the Jumbotron. They're going to have they're going to have different drive summary things listed there. That's going to happen during 4 Alabama games. NASCAR is going to be putting its stuff on the big screen inside Bryant-Denny for 4 Alabama football games. So Saban handling NIL. When you look at what Bryce Young's been able to do, Will Anderson's been able to do, Jalen Milroe recently got an NIL deal. Several players have been getting compensated, but yet Saban still keeps the focus on the main thing, which is developing players, developing leaders as young men, and winning championships. So, highest paid coach in college football, not slowing down at all, has raised the level of play all across the board, and now he is showing you what it is and how it is in handling this NIL. College football is not about to get rid of Coach Saban anytime soon. That contract extended 2030. We're going to take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started. Upon our return, we get to you, the Bama Nation. How do you feel about the Saban deal? How do you feel about college football happening in the next 9 to 10 days for your Crimson Tide? We want to hear from you. Blow the phone lines up. We'll get to your calls after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, folks, we're back into the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine on a Wednesday. Appreciate all of the donations that are rolling in here right now. So let's get to those super chats. How about Eric Beasley, baby? That $20 donation, dropping that in here. Appreciate the love there from Eric Beasley. Then we've got Aaron McGuire. Aaron McGuire, that $5 donation. That Abraham Lincoln helping us out there. Appreciate Aaron McGuire. Then we got my man Bill, Big Bill from New York, dropping in that $10 donation. Showing love the show. And behind him, we got Jamie Wilhelm with that $4.99 for super chats. Appreciate Eric Beasley, Aaron McGuire, Jamie Wilhelm, Bill from New York. Everybody showing love. D. Pickett early on in the show, making the Shore Show your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. We love it. We're going right now to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We start with this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen, Bill from New York. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. Bill, we're 9 days almost for Bryce Young away from this season.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm picking out my T-shirts, all my rituals. You know, I'm getting them down. But tonight, I want to talk about like Coach Saban. You know, look, he's making all this money, and I missed the beginning of your shows, but I just want to say this. He's worth every penny and way more, because like when you think about what he's done, right? Every other sports team, women's softball, basketball, I don't care what it is, he made them better. They're better because of the money that he brought in. You know, everybody owes him. If you have a degree from Alabama, he made that better because they're even out here, Stephen, recruiting kids with high SATs. I talk to some of these kids. They love it. They love the state. He put Alabama on the map. I'm not saying it, wasn't on the map. He he is setting an example for these kids. He's making them rich. He's making them work. You know what I mean? Not every kid on the team had like the greatest life. He's helping them. The guy, he's unbelievable. He's helped like human relations, race relations. You know what I mean? You think if I'm sitting in Alabama, which I plan to be doing maybe this year. We're looking at Mississippi State. You think anyone cares I'm from New York? Think anyone cares about my skin color? No. We're Alabama fans. It's just amazing what this guy has done for the team and for the whole state. And I'm just so glad. And job creation. When they're redoing the stadium and this and that, people are working and making a living. Now, I always told you how good you are. I always told you how you're going to the top. And you didn't need him to do it, but it's even going to help you because look who you covered. You know what kind of experience that is? And you are going to the top, bro. You know what I mean? You're going to be the multi-million-dollar broadcaster. So I just wanted to say roll tide, roll. And we're talking about 9-10 days. I'm ready.
Absolutely. Gotta love my man Bill from New York calling in here on a Wednesday. And not only Coach Saban, but Miss Terry's done a great job also with him as his backbone. I mean, 19 houses built for Habitat for Humanity. So he's even creating lives in terms of homes for people that may not even have a home. We take this call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stevie. This is Michael from Columbia, South Carolina. How you doing?
Doing great, Michael, and yourself?
Steven, we only got 9 more days, brother. 9 more days.
I'm telling you, man, I feel it, man. I feel it. I'm getting ready to get this fresh haircut real soon and get out to the Bryant-Denny to watch this matchup between Bama and Utah State next week.
Well, I got one question for you before I say it. I guess I can confirm that I did buy tickets for the Alabama Texas A&M game.
That's going to be a good one, man. That's going to be a good one for you to go to.
And my question is, can you kind of give me kind of the final kind of starting depth for the offense and defense?
The final kind of starting depth there. Well, let's see here, depth chart there. That's going to be tough to do there. We all know Bryce Young's going to be the starting quarterback offensively. Starting running backs, you're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs, Jace McClellan. They'll work Roydell Williams and Trey Sanders in there. Starting receivers, let's go with Burton. Let's go with Ja'Cory Brooks. Let's go with Trayshawn Holden for right now. Christian Leary will get worked in. Starting tight end, we know that's Cameron Latou. Starting offensive line, let's go Steen from left to right. Let's go Steen, Randolph. Let's go Steen, Randolph, McLaughlin. Do I like McLaughlin? They may put Dalcourt right there. But let's go Steen, Randolph, McLaughlin, Ekiyor, J.C. Latham. Defense, let's go Young, Burrows, Boygby. Linebackers, let's go Turner, Anderson, Moody, To'o. Secondary, let's ride with McKinstry, Terry on Arnold. I think he may take it over Riggs. Could be. So let's go with McKinstry, Arnold, Brian Branch, Battle, DeMarco Helms.
Thank you, Stephen.
Appreciate Michael from South Carolina calling in right there. I may get an amendment on that before the season starts, but that's just me spitballing it right there off the top of my head there. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, man? It's Austin from Atlanta, man. How you doing?
Doing great, Austin, and yourself?
Great, man. Just like all the other Bama fans. Shout out to Bama Nation. I'm ready. 9 days. I'm ready. I got that nasty Georgia stuck in my mouth. I'm ready to go and get that. You know what I'm saying? Go on avenge that loss we had in the Natty. But my reason of calling, I wanted to see what was your thoughts on the young guys, the Kobe Princes and the well, I can't think of the other names right now, but the Kobe Princes and the running back Henderson and the defense too. I like that oldest kid too. So what you think about the young guys this year? Like, what impact do you think they will make in this Bama 2022 team?
Well, Austin, the young guys have been really chirping in fall camp. Jaheim Otis, I think he's going to be highly impactful on the defensive line. He will be in that rotation. When you got everybody talking about you, you're doing something right. So Otis will be in that rotation. I think he'll have an impact. As far as receivers, Kobe Prentice has been chirping in fall camp. Can he find a way on the field? I think he can. It's going to be a push because the receiver depth is so strong. But how he has performed through 2 scrimmages, I think Prentice will find a way. He'll work his way in there. And then a guy like you got Prentice in there, you got Otis in there, and then you got Emmanuel Henderson. If Henderson doesn't get reps as a back, watch him in the receiver aspect or as a kickoff returner. Saban mentioned the kid, dynamic returner. He's been working with receivers in fall camp, so if he doesn't get reps as a running back, watch Henderson, receiver or return man.
Okay, that's great. And to be honest, I like that Henderson at return because we haven't had a good return man since like Waddle, like that's really had a big impact in big games. So I like that Henderson move. But thanks, man. Thanks for the call, man. And I just want to say I like your show, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm actually trying to get into YouTube like soon in my life, so I just seeing you do your thing just makes me motivated to go and get started like with my YouTube page. But thanks again, man. Love y'all, Bama Nation. Let's get it. Roll Tide to another natty.
Absolutely. Austin calling in right there from Atlanta to the show. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Roll Tide, Steven. Roll Tide, my friend. How's it going?
Going great, William. We're about 9 to 10 days now, 10 if you count the day. But starting tomorrow, we are Bryce Young, days away from Bama, Utah State.
I've got that Bama itch, man. Bring it on. It can't get here soon enough.
These guys are ready. These guys are ready. The coaching staff is ready. Coach Saban making sure Kirby Smart is not more highly paid than he is. Kirby Smart, $11.2 million, but Coach Saban pocketing that $11.7 million for 2022.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that with a stick, man. And you know the thing of it is he's not a greedy coach. He gets there, like you said, with the habitat and humanity. He gets in there and helps out with the building of the houses and everything. And but my question is, if you could tell me, I don't know what it is, and maybe you might know what the Alabama's power ranking is starting off this year.
The power, now I know the ESPN power ranking at one point when the last time I looked at it, I'm thinking at Alabama going 11-1 for the regular season. Don't know whether one loss ESPN had it going for the Crimson Tide, but I know according to them, they had Alabama with the highest odds to win the national championship at 30%. Georgia was right behind them, so Alabama was number 1 there in that power index from ESPN.
Okay, and one other thing, if I may, do you happen to see any kind of weak cupcake team that others play? You know, I was just wondering if we have any of that, and I don't believe so because I believe we play a lot of SEC teams, and I'll listen to your answer. Roll Tide.
Absolutely appreciate William from Iowa with that call. When I look at the schedule, of course, you've got Utah State, which I wouldn't consider Utah State weak. They won 10 to 11 games last year. No, it's not the norm of you playing teams like West Virginia, Virginia Tech, USC, but Utah State, pretty solid team there. Now, Austin Peay and New Mexico State, that's where the kind of comes in at there. But you do have strong SEC teams. Arkansas is going to be good this year. Tennessee is going to be sneaky good this year. Ole Miss, you got to deal with Lane Kiffin. That's always crazy. Mississippi State, you know, Mike Leach, the air raid, it could catch on this year. That could be an intriguing matchup. So A&M, you know, Jimbo Fisher said what he had to say. That game's in Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a fun matchup. Texas, you got to go all the way to Austin for big noon kickoff. That game should be fun. So aside from Austin Peay and New Mexico State, I don't see any just weak games there on the schedule. I think Alabama's got a pretty good schedule right there, but appreciate William for that call. We're going to go to this call here. You are live on the show. What's going on? Well, I thought we had a call. There's no call there. Got a little bit ahead of myself. But you guys continue to let your voice be made known by calling 205-448-1358. That's 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard. But we're going to get to our first call topic. And that being so, speaking speaking of Alabama having a chance to have more first-round picks in the 2023 draft versus the recent draft, the Senior Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl down there in Mobile, that's my man Jim Nagy and his staff. They dropped their watch list for this season, and 12 Alabama players made the Senior Bowl watch list. A few of those guys, DJ Dale, Justin Aboigbe, Byron Young, all of those in the defensive line, Henry To'o, Jalen Moody at linebacker, Tyler Steen, Emil Ekiyor Jr. on the offensive line, Tyler Harrell at wide receiver, Jordan Battle, DeMarco Helms in the secondary, Kyrie Jackson on that list as well in the secondary. It's just a few of those names there. Cameron Latu, there we go, at tight end. I think I just named all 12 with Cameron Latu. So those are the 12 names that are on the watch list for the Reese's Senior Bowl that will take place at Whitney Hancock Stadium, the home of the University of South Alabama right there, the Jaguars. That game will be on February 4th, 2023 at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. NFL Network will have the call on that game. But the Crimson Tide, 12 players that are on the Senior Bowl watch list that look to have a big year in the upcoming season and try to craft a strong draft stock for next year's venue. But we take a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial, because upon our return, we dive into the Alabama offensive line. The group up front, all in on the rough, tough, physical mindset of Eric Wolford. There's a lot of good things coming out of camp about the first team offensive line. We'll talk about it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, what's poppin'? We're back in to the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. After today will be 9 days from Bama football. Can you smell it? We're in single digits here. We're talking Bryce Young. We're talking Amari Cooper, even more of a throwback. We're talking Nikita Stover. Days away from Crimson Tide football. A little bit of an update here from the Nick Saban press conference. Coach Saban talking about Tyler Harrell, Alabama wide receiver, dealt with a sprained foot in the preseason, but he's been getting more reps now, healthier now than when he was early on. Coming into Alabama, dealt with sprained foot in the preseason, transferred from Louisville, but getting more reps in here now. Saban also mentioned Emmanuel Henderson doing a great job at wide receiver. He's getting those reps in there. 5-star running back in the 2022 class. Saban also talked about Jace McClellan. No limitations on Jace McClellan. He's full go. He's full action. Been doing really, really well. So that's big updates right there coming from Coach Nick Saban as he's in his press conference here on a Wednesday. But again, the topic number 2 here of the conversation, and that being on the Alabama offensive line. There's been a lot of positive things coming out of camp on the offensive unit, especially the first team group. Saban's mentioned these guys are playing well. They're forming an identity. They're forming a connection. They're forming a chemistry. There's a lot of improvement being made on that first team offensive unit. And the biggest thing Saban said today, the mentality of Eric Wolford has rubbed off on this group. This group is bought in. Rough, tough, mean, physical, put guys on their butts. Let's be Bama football. Let's be Joe Moore Award type offensive line. The mentality of Eric Wolford is rubbing off here on this group, and we all kind of knew or had an idea that Wolford much better fit than Doug Marrone. No offense to Doug Marrone, but sometimes you can be a good coach, not the best fit for Bama. And here comes Eric Wolford from Kentucky, spent time in the SEC, knows his conference, understands his conference, has a footprint in this conference, coming from Kentucky, also coached there at South Carolina, had Kentucky's offensive line last year, Joe Moore Award finalist. You're seeing the positive transition from Marrone to Wolford. These guys all the way bought into his mindset. And you just look at, a couple of guys here in particular, or one guy in particular or two guys to pull out here. You've got Tyler Steen and Emil Ekiyor. Two of these guys are Senior Bowl Award watching-list guys. Ekiyor and Steen have a chance to really increase their draft stock for the upcoming draft. Both of these two have been on quite a few preseason watching lists, preseason award lists. This is a big year for Ekiyor as a right guard, and Steen coming over from Vanderbilt as a left tackle. If these two anchor and do their jobs up front, Bryce Young will not be sacked a ton in the upcoming season, and then Alabama will be able to not just run the football the way it wants to, but build off of that with play-action pass, getting the ball downfield, really opening up this offense. So Steen and Ekiyor got to be the anchors right there. In terms of Steen himself, a lot of great things have been said about Tyler Steen. Coach Saban's been pleased with him. Kendall Randolph, sixth-year senior offensive lineman, has been pleased with him. But Will Anderson said something, about 2 weeks ago that stood out. Now, not only did he mention Steen as a great tackle, but he said the guy has powerful hands. Really good run blocker, drives guys off the ball, and that's big there. He's got powerful hands, really good footwork, really good athlete, tremendous athlete. So here is a guy coming over from Vanderbilt that's got the size, that's got the powerful hands, that's got the really quick feet, that's got really high athleticism as an offensive tackle. His job not only in the run game, but keeping some of the speedy edge rushers in the Southeastern Conference, whether they're outside linebackers, defensive ends, away from Bryce Young. Now, as we go to hear Kendall Randolph just a moment here, Randolph trying to get that starting job at left guard. He is really excited about blocking for Jahmyr Gibbs. Alabama wants to run the football this year. They want to pound the rock this year. They want to get back to being rough and tough and physical and line the ball up and be able to run the football whenever it wants to do it. Kendall Randolph talked about it this week, where he said, Jahmyr Gibbs, special, one-of-a-kind back, one-of-a-kind talent, big speed, explosive cuts, huge playmaker, tremendous athlete. And the one thing Randolph said, we want to get Gibbs in situations where he can have big success. It's an honor blocking for this young man. We want to get him in situations where he can have success. And not just Gibbs, but Gibbs, McClellan, Roydell Williams, Trey Sanders, and even if Emmanuel Henderson, Jamarion Miller, both freshmen, get opportunities out the backfield, you want to create success for those two guys as well. So Bama not playing around when they're talking about running the football. This offensive line wants to run the football. They're getting back to that tough, mean, hard hat, blue collar, put them on the butt mentality. And when you watch Wolford coach these guys, he's a little bit of Jeff Stoutland. He's a little bit of Joe Pendry. That old school toughness that you want to see Bama get back to. Wolford, a little bit of both of those guys, Stoutland and Pendry. This is really, really good here for what Coach Saban wants to do. And when he is lavishing praise on an assistant coach, he's doing it for a reason. And so for a while now, for some moments now, when the offensive line's brought up, what has Coach Saban said? Really love Wolford's personality. Love what Coach Wolford's doing. Guys are buying into his mindset. They love the toughness that he brings, the energy, and the way he teaches these guys and stays on these guys about doing what they need to do to be successful up front and setting that tone for the entire Alabama football team this upcoming season. So that's awesome right there, hearing about the offensive line, especially that first group. We're going to take a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we return to you, the Alabama football faithful. Your phone calls, your thoughts, your donations. We get to you guys. Light those phone lines up. We're coming back after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Hey, Bama Nation, we're back in on a Wednesday, hump day from the break, hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, reminding you after today, we are 9, baby, it's here, 9 days. Bryce Young, Amari Cooper, you want to throw back Nikita Stover. We are 9 days from Bama, Utah State. Matchup Saturday, September 3rd, Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. SEC Network has the call, or will have the call right there. But going to the phone lines now to take your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. As we await your calls, got a thought in the chat line from my man Bill from New York on Tommy Brockmeyer. Everyone's still talking about the Brockmeyer boys. When will the Brockmeyer twins get out there? The brothers get out there. You know, what's up with the Brockmeyer boys? Well, for James Brockmeyer, he's still third-team center behind McLaughlin and Dalcourt. In terms of Tommy Brockmeyer, still second-team offensive tackle. I think he's second-team left tackle behind Steen. And Brock staying healthy now, finally, but got to just get the full consistency down. Got to get the full consistency down. You know, sometimes when you come from high schools where you're not playing against the best competition, you know, you wonder, are you really being challenged? Are you really being pushed to reach your full potential? You know, when you're not playing against a tough competition, you're wondering, are you really being challenged? Are you really being pushed to reach that full potential? So, you know, for Tommy Brockmeyer, still second team. I think he's second team left tackle behind Tyler Steen. So we'll see what happens there as he continues to try to, you know, gain that consistency out there on the field. But we go to a quick topic here as we're still awaiting your calls, and that goes to Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Several Alabama players took the field today for the first joint practice between the Dolphins and the Eagles. And when you look at the Alabama players between both teams, you got Landon Dickerson, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Josh Jobe, and that's just for the Eagles. For the Dolphins, you've got Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle, Raekwon Davis. I mean, that's just for your Dolphins right there. But the main storyline, of course, Jalen and Tua, right? Both guys played together at Alabama. Both guys helped the Crimson Tide to a national championship in 2017, an SEC championship in 2018. Both guys were taken in the 2020 NFL draft, and both guys have to prove their critics wrong in the upcoming season. Well, Tua, according to the beat writers that were out there, I mean, Tua stole the show. Was ripping the ball back and forth, getting the ball to Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, among other guys. which is having a show out there on the field. Now, Jalen had a good day, completed 22 of 27 passes, according to Eagles beat writers. But what made it difficult for Jalen, even though he was working the sidelines with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and company, Jalen did not have the best protection out there. Protection broke down a lot on Jalen, and he had to get rid of the ball a lot before he wanted to. There was one play where he had Devontae Smith open. If he would have had a little bit more time, would have hit Devontae Smith for a touchdown, but pressure got there fast, and Jalen didn't have a lot of time to really go with the ball and overthrew Smitty there. So the offensive line just not there for the Eagles today. And they had a couple of guys out due to some injuries here and there. So Tua and the Dolphins, there's not really winners and losers in joint practices, but if there were, the Dolphins won that joint practice. Tua just looked magnificent out there, hitting guys in tight windows. I mean, Mike McDaniel talked about how the most accurate catchable ball he's seen has come off the arms of Tua. So you want to see him do that on Sundays here in the fall as the NFL season is inching closer. But a good showing for Tua in the joint practices. Jalen Hurts, not a bad day for him. Had a good day. But hopefully the Eagles get this offensive line healthy where they get him that consistent protection. But we take our final break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we tidy up loose ends on the Crimson Tide dominated the preseason All-SEC coaches team. 19 guys, a league high 19 for Bama were named to that list. What does this mean? What does this entail for Bama in this upcoming season? We'll talk about it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, baby, we're back into the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Folks, you have made it through a long offseason. We are about to be 9 days. Can you feel it? Can you feel the energy? We're about to be 9 days away from your Crimson Tide taking the field inside Bryant-Denny to face Utah State. It's coming up here next week. Guys, shout out Daily Diesel 98 with that $9.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate that donation there from Daily Diesel 98. Showing love here to the show here. Got to remind you guys of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for all of your swag, assault, strip, clothing, cultural, fashion needs, check us out right there. TDAwear.com, link in the description, TDAwear.com. Folks, fall camp is about to wrap up. Get that gear. Show that support for your Bama. Or if you want to wait till September 3rd, next week, as Bama takes on Utah State to get that gear, you can do that also. Link in the description, TDAwear.com. Continue showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But now, we get into the All-SEC coaches. With the coaches in the SEC, they released the all SEC coaches team on Tuesday, and Alabama dominated. Alabama owned. Alabama showed out on this preseason list. The expectation is Alabama's going to run the table. It's going to run the gamut of college football, get back to the CFP, win the national championship, so forth and so on. Just a lot of high expectations. When you look at this Alabama team, with the guys back on defense, with the playmakers on offense, with the coaching staff hungry. I mean, Nick Saban, an $11.7 million man, just so much build-up, hype, expectation going into this season. The Crimson Tide, a league-high 19 players, 19, 2 decades of players, named to this preseason all-SEC coaches team list, including 6 first-team guys. Your first-teamers, Bryce Young, quarterback, Emil Ekiyor Jr., offensive lineman, linebacker, Will Anderson, linebacker, Henry To'o, defensive back, Eli Ricks, and safety, Jordan Battle. All first-team selections right there for your Crimson Tide. Your second-team guys, their names are on screen there. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, Cameron Latu, tight end, Dallas Turner. They're going to put respect on Dallas Turner's name this year. Respect is going to be on Dallas Turner's name this year. But Dallas Turner, second-teamer, Jermaine Burton, second-teamer, Malachi Moore, second-teamer. I'm expecting Malachi to have a big bounce-back junior season. Will Riker, can we get some love for the kicker? Will Riker, second-teamer. Should be a first-teamer, but Will Riker, second-teamer. Those are those guys right there. In terms of your third-team guys, we've got Javion Cohan, offensive line. JoJo Earl, he made it as a return specialist. Earl will miss 6 to 8 weeks. Foot fracture, should be back first week of October. Tyler Steen, offensive lineman. DJ Dale, defensive lineman. Justin Aboigbe, defensive lineman. Brian Branch, defensive back. He's another one. People going to have to put some respect on BB. Put some respect on Brian Branch. Not my nephew, BB, but shout out to my nephew, BB, Benny Bice IV. But put some respect on Brian Branch. That BB, his name there. And then last but not least, Kool-Aid McKinstry, third-teamer as well. But those are just the guys that made the all-SEC coaches team list preseason. Bama, a league-high 19 names, including 6 first-team honorees right there. So there's a lot of build-up. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of oomph when you talk about this season for the Crimson Tide. Last year it was, if this team, as young as it was, wins a championship, national championship, it's cool, but not expecting it. This time around, oh yeah, leadership, veterans, coaches, experience, Nick Saban, $11.7 million, championship, got to be brought home in this season right here for your Crimson Tide. But as always, Bama Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, alerts, entertainment on your favorite program. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. Now, you download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. Now, for your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll return on Friday. Continuing the conversation. It's Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description. If you're trying to get your hands on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. Got to appreciate you guys, the outstanding fans of Crimson Tide football, for all of your donations, all of your calls, all of your chats, all of your interactions, making this show as special as it is. 9 days till Bama football. Gotta shout out my two outstanding producers, John Ivory and Eli Walker, doing their thing behind the scene there. And until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored and get that work done. School is in session. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself, you protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and as always, you've been listening to In My Own Words.